First of all, King Willis, you're always on my shit, bro, and I always appreciate the love and support and the fact that you comment on my stuff or whatever the case may be. Um, just to get to this point, we are really quick to say this because it makes sense, right? Here's the thing. It really depends on what state you're in because in most cases, just because you're on child support, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're automatically entitled to visitation. It's one of the unfair things. It makes sense that if I am responsible for him financially, I am responsible for his nurturing as well. But that's not how a lot of these states out here operate. With that being said, it simply does make sense. And the reason why it makes sense, it's much like, okay, I am supposed to be his main financial provider. So why does she get to claim him on taxes? Wouldn't it make more sense since I provide the money? She gets that money tax free, by the way. Shouldn't I be able to claim that child on the taxes? But we know that the law has a slant in it when it comes to these situations. Now, with that being said, one of those slants include the fact that a woman just has to go fill out paperwork to put you on child support. But in a lot of states, they won't even let the man petition the court for visitation or custody unless he hires a lawyer. So she gets to go do what she needs to do absolutely 100% free, but you have to have a retainer to go get a lawyer, and then you have to pay him hourly in order to go through the process of doing that. Not to mention, you have to take time off work to go to court. You have to do all of these different things and jump through hoops in order for you to see your child, which was God given to you. It's a sad fact. Nevertheless, it's a fact. So don't be quick to say this because we put this information out to people and people are seeing it and people might read it and people think that that's the case, but that's not always the case. And I think it depends on the state, and I really don't know of any states that operate other than the way that I said, but it is considered a separate case between visitation and financial responsibility. Show off.
You for months for a chance. It's usually the guy who plays you.
You know what? This is actually a good video right here. This is a good video, but I do have the answer. I actually have a couple of answers. And I know it's not proper and I shouldn't answer um, questions with questions, but I would ask this young lady, what is your case study? How many times have you had a guy and you just kept on telling him no and no and no and no and no, and he kept coming and coming and coming, and then you finally gave him a chance? How many times have you given a guy who you kept telling no a chance? I would say maybe once in your lifetime, and that didn't go well. But even more than that, when you've been telling him no and no and no and no and no, by the time you let up and gave him that chance, he now knows that he is at least your third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth option. So now you're expecting him to come in and be perfect. Not only that, he's still not thinking that you're going to take him seriously. That you're just doing what you're doing, which is giving him a chance, giving him dates or whatever the case may be. One, because you're bored, and two, you're still not going to take him seriously. You're just passing time until your next guy comes in to play. That has to be in his mind. How seriously are you taking him? Did he really mess up? Or were you just looking for negatives because you never wanted to give him a chance in the first place? All of these things come into play. And all of these things. See, a lot of y'all think that men just not that smart when it comes to these things. But a lot of times we see things coming.
Issue. If you are standing there letting somebody abuse you, you are the issue.
Do you know why you're comfortable saying such things? You're comfortable saying such things because you are allowed as a woman to live in a false reality. Now, I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong at all. I actually agree with you. But the truth is, from a man's perspective, I also see that you're right, but I also see that shit, we deal with that shit every day. Now, I realize that you were responding to a woman, but I'm going to let you know just the general logistics of it. If I was to say that very same thing that you said to that same woman who said that very thing that she said, I would be considered victim shaming. So see, when I say that you are allowed to live in a false reality, and this is why we have terms like you're living in your own truth, you're allowed to live in a false reality by saying that, because if you're bigger, stronger, faster, and someone who is inferior steps to you, someone who's smaller, weaker, not smarter than you, or whatever the case may be, you are expected in this world, because of participation trophies and all of this nonsense about, you are expected to take it easy on that person. And if you don't take it easy on that person, then you give them the ass whooping that they deserve. In whatever sense, whether it's debating, whether it's talking, or whatever the case may be, if you give them the ass whooping that they deserve, you're considered the big bad bully. So, from a man's perspective, this is why we can't tell women the truth nowadays, because whenever we tell them the truth, and if they disagree with it, it's not just we disagree, we are monsters, and that's why I said, it's a false reality. See, only certain people are able to fight back. Only certain people are able to fight back. And this is just a reality of the situation. It just is what the world is. Certain people can't take the truth, which means they are really incapable of embracing what love is. I saw a recent video of yours where you were talking about how you choose to date outside your race. Do you know right now that black men, for making that choice because they're tired, everybody is coming at them? All women who said they don't need him and don't want him, and they're the ones who's talking about the very thing that he's doing? Ha 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 ha. You watch that whole video. I'm actually glad you came on and made your point, because you made my point. See, you watched that whole video, and the only part that you saw and recognized is big black guy. That's the only part you recognize out of all the whole video, right? Now, you didn't notice that the energy that this woman was talking to me with was one like she could actually beat my ass if that situation was to present itself. She was yelling, she was very loud, and that's the energy that she presented to me. You didn't notice that, though. And you made my point, because in my initial video to this young lady, not only did I agree with her, and that prompted her to start yelling at me because she misunderstood that I was actually agreeing with her, but she also took the liberties to start calling me names. You missed that. You completely missed that on that video. Start questioning my emotional stability. You missed all of that, right? And then my response, I say the big black man. And you know what you did? You demonized it, which was exactly what I said. You completely forget the energy of someone who was the antagonizer of the situation. And in my response, the only thing you saw was the bigger, stronger black man. because you're going to automatically assume that she's the victim. And that's the point that I was making. So we all know why you noticed the fact that I said the bigger black man. As a matter of fact, we know why you noticed it. And we know why you actually watched the video. But I digress on that point. You made my point because she's automatically going to be assumed to be the victim because she's a woman. That's the point that I was making in the initial video. You see, when you are bigger, stronger, faster, or better, telling someone the truth that might help them better themselves or understand things better is frowned upon because you are viewed as a bully. You are viewed as whatever you are times 10, and that you're looking down your nose at someone, even if you have their best interests at heart. Show off. So, Chris, bro, everything you're saying is valid. But it's also a product of our time that we're living in. You see, the biggest thing is, as I said, these women could make the choice and the decision to shine the light on those who haven't given up on them. But they choose to not do that. Why? Because they don't give credit for things that dudes are doing right. So what they would rather do is they move when guys are saying nowadays, women are moving into their masculine energy, they want to conquer and crush the guys who aren't moving the way that they want them to move. As a matter of fact, in these days and times, these women want to be wanted by dudes that they don't want. You see it on social media, you see it on Facebook, you see it on all of these different things where women are accepting friend requests of men that they don't even want to say hello to. And yet they are giving these dudes access to them, their content, the pictures that they post, the thoughts that they post. They're giving men that they couldn't be interested in even for a friendship. They're giving those dudes access to them because they want that attention. So here's the thing. In the sense of these women talking about these passport bros, they're still doing that. They're still the guy who has been turned down by these same women over and over and over again because they want a specific type of relationship and that woman doesn't want that type of relationship. They're going elsewhere and they're being proactive and going elsewhere to find what they want. All right? And that's the trigger because they still want you to want them even though they don't want you to give. They don't want to give you what you want in return because our happiness as men is never talked about. As a matter of fact, I just did a narcissist video and I just posted it where I'm talking about the fact that a man thinking of his happiness at all, he's considered a narcissist. Now, with all of that being said, now enters the point where you're now wasting time on people who can't even do the thing that you're putting all of this emphasis on because they're sending messages to troll you. And now you find yourself responding to those messages in a way that is pointless because he's not even one of them. So when I say that it's a product of the times that we live in, and we don't acknowledge where we come from and how we've gotten to this point, we're not acknowledging the fact that we're not acknowledging the cause to the effect. We're not acknowledging the fact. So, for instance, I'll give you an example. When we say something about single parenthood or single mother households or whatever the case may be, people say, well, you probably were living in the fact that you can say you probably were living in a single parent household, so how can you do this to them and how can you say that and this, that, and the third? Our life is what it is, and some of us turned out great, but some of us turned out fucked up too. So we have to, at the end of the day, when we're acknowledging what it is, see, I came up in a single mother household, all right, and I love my mother to death, but the shit was still hard. The fact that I love my mother doesn't mean that I can't acknowledge what our lifestyle was. And that lifestyle was very hard to go through, to deal with, when it's only one parent in the household on a daily basis. This is where we are right now as far as dealing with this, where we're giving up on each other and people don't want to see us come together. And the main people who don't want to see us come together is the only people that we even have any fucking choice on what the fuck they. It's us. We're the ones who don't want to see each other together. We don't want to see us come together. And that's the only thing that we can do anything about. And the only thing that we keep doing is being divisive, because we want people to think like we want them to think, and rather than just let them go ahead and do what it is that they're going to do, and then link up with someone who is on the same page as you. But when I say we living in a different time, you're in your masculine energy that you have to, not you, but these women are in their masculine energy that they focus on the shit that don't want them back. And that's where we are. They focus on the shit that guys who have reached their breaking point and reached their level where they say, I give up, I'm moving on to do different things. They focus on them. And then you end up being so angry that you end up having these conversations with these dudes who aren't what they are portraying themselves to be. And that's where we are. It's like you see red and you just go with it. And that's where we are. I was just talking about that on one of my videos from this morning. Because, let's get the elephant out the room. Ladies be talking about they want a good man. But do you really? Do you really want a good man? Is what he do going to make you moist? The effort that he gives, will that make you moist? Will that keep you? Will that truly keep you? Because maybe not all of them, maybe not even most of them, but some of those passport bros that are going over there and getting are good dudes who wanted to give you what a traditional relationship was. And the fact of the matter is, those women who have, I've evolved so much and I'm so far past you that I don't need you. I have a video that I put out. It's good dudes that's getting left out here, y'all. We got to stop playing games about this shit right here. And we got to start calling a spade a spade. There are good dudes that get left. And the story that she will come and tell you is that he did this and he was beating me. Sometimes that shit don't even be true, y'all. Sometimes that shit is a flat out lie, because it doesn't make sense to leave a good man. So they'll come and tell you the absolute worst shit. Case in point, I know it happened to me. It happened to me where she told her family I walked out on her, when the truth was she kicked me out the house. I know this. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to start calling spades spades. And the fact of the matter is, while you're talking about you want a good man, how much of his effort is going to keep you moist? How much of his effort is going to keep your heart warm? Once you get used to the shit that he does, is it still going to be as special as when he did it the first time, second time, third time? See, at the end of the day, a lot of these women are saying they want something that is good, but a lot of these women are turning down good men, breaking up with good men, because they tired of being in relationships, tired of the monotony of being in a relationship, don't want to be committed, don't want to submit, don't want to do all of these different things. And those are the reasons that they're walking out on good men. And yet they'll say, well, if you was this type of man, I will submit. That's not really the case. I'm telling y'all this right now, because this type of man entails different shit than what that type of man really is supposed to entail. It's supposed to entail him being masculine and being a leader, but a lot of times they want him to be feminized in order for them to submit to a woman like dude. No. I have no idea what her contract stipulates. What I do feel like is it's been so long since she did music that whatever contract she had to be in had to be null and void by now. So here's the thing. We could talk money or whatever the case may be, and we all know that Russell Wilson has been able to, or been willing to give Ciara whatever she wanted. And he's, even with kids that don't even belong to her but belong to her baby daddy, he's been very charitable about that situation. Started all of them trust funds so they can go to college and all of that stuff. We get that. So we need to understand the dynamics of that scenario, because he is not cheap with his money. That shows that. She put that out front for whatever reason. That shows that. So you know she can get whatever it is that she wants. But you could hear this message in this song and say, you know what? Nah, I'm not messing with that, because I believe in the power of love. This man came into my life and actually changed my whole outlook on life as far as who I'm choosing to lay down with. And I owe him more than to do a song this divisive when it comes to, not to mention the fact that you have these people who are listening who really look up to you and idolize you simply because you've been on a couple videos or whatever the case may be, or they've seen you perform, or they heard your music and they like it. They're listening to the words that are coming out of your mouth, and they're like, oh shit, well, even though she's married, she can still be this person. What happened to marriage? And this is where we at. What happened to marriage being a unit thing? What happened to marriage being a partnership? You got married so you didn't have to do it on your own. You're not raising Hendrix on your own. You're not doing that. That man has been an intricate part in your son's life, as well as the kids y'all have had together. And this is by your own admission. So you owed it to him more than to put him in this position when he already accepted a whole bunch of scrutiny by even dealing with your ass in the first place. And that's all that I'm simply saying. I hope you have a blessed day.